Alrighty, guys, welcome to tonight's session. It is Wednesday, July 12th. Hope everybody has been having a good day so far. We took two trades in the morning session. We took two winners, and let's talk about them. So going into the day, I did have a bearish bias, and why is that? It's because we just ended up sweeping this overall extended level, overall buy side on a bigger time frame on NQ. So what was I looking for in the AM going into the session? Right now, I had a lot of questions in the AM and a lot of impatience this morning. And we kind of had a little bit of a discussion in the AM talking about the importance of patience, the importance of waiting for specific conditions, the importance of waiting for structure, right? We woke up this morning and I told you guys that we're probably going to get slow action in the AM session. The reason is because what happens when we open up after buy side is already swept? A lot of the times you're going to get slower action in the AM session. So what do I say? Always wait for structure. Wait for there to be a clear draw on liquidity for you to take some sort of trade. Now, there was a lot of people that tried shorting when they shouldn't have been shorting. For example, a lot of people came into the day seeing like, okay, we just swept this big buy side level, and they zoom down to the 1 minute and they're like, oh, we just put on a high here. Wow, this must be breakout structure. And they end up shorting this fair value gap, and then they end up getting ran through. And I was like, do not short this. Do not short this. Do not short this. Why do you not short this? Because if you're looking for a 1 minute break of structure to the downside, that means that some sort of 15-minute high needs to be swept. You are looking at a way zoomed in time frame for you to be taking some sort of short model like that. Zoom out, bro. You are looking at a 4-hour high that just got swept. This is a very big external buy side level on the chart, and you're zoomed into a 1 minute to try to find some sort of break of structure to the downside. You are going to get faked out so many times trying to take a break of structure, looking at the 1 minute chart zoomed in when you're overall sweeping some major level like at this big 4-hour high here, right? If we want to look for a 1 minute break of structure to the downside or 1 minute break of structure to the upside, it needs to be some sort of internal level being swept. Like looking here, let's say we either get a bounce off a 15-minute fair value gap. Okay, that's when we zoom in and look for maybe a break structure to the upside or a 15-minute high being swept. Okay, then that's when you can look for a 1 minute and then can see internal sell side. But look where we are right here, guys. Zoom out, right? That is when it's acceptable for you to take 1 minute break of structures, right? When we get those 15-minute highs, 30-minute highs, whatever it is, right? But these big levels here and overall, like zoom out, this massive high here, you are not going to see it on the 1 minute. And if you continue to try to take those on the 1 minute, you're going to constantly being tricked out and constantly being faked out, and you're going to constantly just being, thrown back and forth, and you're just going to take massive L's. Now, what do I wait for? If we have some bigger level being swept, I need to see displacement lower through a bigger time frame. So I zoomed out to the 5 minute, and we had a low here. Notice we formed relative equal lows right here, and then we ended up getting big displacement back to the downside, right? Notice we do not just go through this level and then bounce right back up to the upside. We have big displacement through this level, right? Big displacement through this level. Now, what does this also create as well? Discount. Premium versus discount, right? I actually want to see if we pull back to discount here. We did. So this whole entire range here from that high to the low, where does that discount end up lying perfectly? Zoom out to the 5 minute where the break of structure is, and it's in this fair value gap. Again, why do you not take this short, but you do take this short? It's because this 5 minute is in discount. Now, you could enter on this short, but you have to allow yourself room, your stop room, to come up to this because we could still come up to this fair value gap, right? So once we got displacement back down, I waited for NQ to come back up to that 5 minute fair value gap, and we reached a discount. Then you could enter here, but I want to wait for extra confirmation, right? I want to be sure. So what do I wait for? I zoom into the 1 minute to perfect my entry. 5 minute bias, right? We have overall bigger bias. We swept external. We've now had a bigger time frame start to move to the downside. Okay, I look into the 1 minute, wait for us to retrace back to discount. Now I want to see signs of a rejection. Notice, right, when we come back up, no follow through, no follow through, no follow through, right? 4 candles sitting up here that we have no movement. And then boom, big candle back to the downside. That is my confirmation to enter short. What do I look for? 1 minute fair value gap, wait for the pullback. I enter short. And we end up getting a really nice sell-off. I ended up taking off half my contracts around this low, and then I took off the rest at these equal lows right here. Again, great trade going into the day. I took another trade on ES a little bit beforehand. Let's check that out. A little bit of scalp here, got 50% off, and then the rest got stopped at break even. So the bias for this was looking at the 15-minute on ES. Again, bullish order flow, still having, bullish flow to the upside. Looking at the 5-minute, we had this big 5-minute fair value gap that was still holding. Again, if I'm looking at price, we're constantly going to the upside. What would I want to possibly see? An SMT and a fair value gap. We pull back to discount of this range. Once we pull back to discount, I see that we have an SMT, meaning NQ swept this low right here. So that's when I zoom in on ES. I notice that we get big displacement back up, right? That big candle comes in here. And with this model, I don't need a break of structure, right? Because we have SMT and we've already pulled back to discount. So I take that fair value gap, and my first target was these equal highs right here as well, because we also had a 5-minute fair value gap here. And then I ended up taking off half my contracts here, and then I put my stop to break even, and then the rest ended up getting stopped to break even. So a little bit of profit on that. Again, good risk management, putting a stop to break even. So I'm taking advantage of that little move. And then not, if I was to put my stop down here and get stopped out, I would have, given back all that profits. But even the 1-2, even that first P, it's not bad, right? It's a 1-2-2. So I'm not upset with that, right? Good management, good trade, not too bad. And then the rest of the day, I haven't really looked at the action the rest of the day. So let's take a look and maybe see if there was any other possible setups. I do want to bring up NQ here, maybe see if there was any possible SMT. Now, I actually do see that there was a setup on NQ, so I do want to bring up just NQ here. Now, the NQ setup, bigger time frame wise, I had this marked out. This was a bigger time frame, 4-hour, I think it was breaker, or maybe it was a 30-minute? Yeah. So I had this 30-minute breaker here, right? We had this kind of zone, supply zone, demand zone, whatever you want to call it. But I knew this was going to be a very sensitive area, as well as marked in with this big fair value gap here. So I marked this in. I wanted to see us come back down, right? Looking at the 15-minute, also had this fair value gap on the 15-minute. Once we came into this, I was expecting to probably see a continuation back towards the upside, because I'm not expecting to see a massive sell-off. We've got a big sell-off here. I'm expecting at least price to go back to 50%, right, of this entire range. So what do I look for? Break a structure to the upside. That's when I zoom in. Okay, no really break, no really break, no really break. All right, we have a high put in. Boom, we get displacement through that high. We zoom down. Right? Actually, you could have entered... so on a 1 minute, I would have rather taken this. And the reason is because I would want to zoom out a little bit more. So looking at the 1 minute, though, you could have taken this. You could have maybe said this would be break a structure. But the reason I really wouldn't say... Actually, that's not that bad, because we never even took this high out. So this actually would not be bad. And then look to take this. This wouldn't have been a bad long. But I like looking at the 5 minute, and I like to see this. Because on the 5 minute, we get big displacement through this high. And then we also get this 5 minute fair value gap. So we get this 5 minute fair value gap. Once this ends up coming down, also aligns with this 1 minute. This would have been a long entry, targeting higher, scale along the way, and then you just continually to ride it up and scale along the way. So that would have been another setup. Let's see if there's anything else. We touched back into this fair value gap. We ended up sweeping that previous high here. This wouldn't have been a bad short, but honestly, I probably would not have taken that short here. Zoom out to a 5 minute. This actually isn't bad here. So this is not a bad long here, actually. So we end up coming down. We have this 5 minute fair value gap. I do want to take a look at ES here on what ES looked like at this time. So we're forming SMT as well. Yeah, this would have been a really nice setup here. So we're forming SMT. We come back to this 5 minute fair value gap. We get big displacement back up, right? What's our buy side level now? Whatever that previous high is. Get a massive 5 minute fair value gap here. And then this would have been your long entry targeting that high. Let's see if you even wanted to wait for extra confirmation. You could have came down, waited for the impulse back up, and then take the breaker or that inverse fair value gap as well. Yeah. Come down. Once you show that we're holding that 5 minute, could have entered here on this 1 minute fair value gap. And then rode it up to that buy side level. But that would have been a really nice trade as well. And a little bit more, this would have to be a little bit looser risk. But not bad. Ends up showing that draw perfectly. Why don't you like the short at 240? Guessing it was this one. The reason... Now, again, this isn't a bad short. But... it's not bad. It's honestly not bad. You have this high being swept. You're coming back into that fair value gap. Market structure shift. Fair value gap. What would you target? Previous low. Now, the only problem I have with this is, again, I don't even think we... The only thing I have a problem with this is time of day, number one. And number two, you've kind of already came back up after this range. I would expect a very small... Again, I wouldn't expect to take the short and then see, you know, a bigger move to the downside. Again, it's not a bad trade. It's not a bad trade, but if I would have like watched this and seen it, I probably wouldn't have taken it. But it's not a bad trade. It's good risk to reward. But again, if I was in this trade, I would want to be in by here. But it's not bad to just take that little scalp if you have a good risk. It'll of course be a little bit lower probability though. There was an inverse on the long, was there? Yeah, right here. How much you up today? I think it was 6K. I gotta open my broker. I screenshotted it though. It was around 6K. This top 7 thing crazy. I'm almost funded. Let's go. When are you uploading top step video? So I'm gonna do that today, but I'm kind of thinking about maybe pushing it back one more week. And the reason I might push it back one more week is because I want to give everybody a little bit of extra time to kind of get ready for it. Because again, if I announced it right now, it would I would give you guys literally less than a week. Like I would give everybody less than a week, and I kind of want to make an announcement for it and allow people to possibly, you know, join and take advantage of it. So I might end up pushing it back one more week. I know sales ends July 16th. I'll make the announcement. I'll make the announcement today or tomorrow about it, so you can take advantage of the sale. But again, if you buy it today, you still have until whenever we start. Like you have a month before that even you can activate the account, right? So even if you were buying it today, it doesn't mean in exactly a month you have to, you know, pay for it again, right? You only activate it whenever you take that trade. Prepping for we're gonna do an evaluation challenge with the Discord. So I'm gonna announce we're gonna do an eval. I'm gonna buy a Top Step account and get you guys to do one as well, and then we'll trade together with it and try to get everybody funded. 150K, yeah. How many contracts do you buy when using normal risk? Are you talking about like my account size or for the eval? Both. So for my account size, I've been trading. It kind of fluctuates. It depends on, but my max size is normally 6 NQ minis and 12 ES minis For the eval, I'm still deciding how I'm gonna what contract size I'm gonna trade for you when we're on the live, because we're probably gonna be a little bit more aggressive. If I'm being honest, we'll probably be trading a little bit more aggressive size with the eval. And the reason why that is because I think evals are easier to pass, quicker rather than longer, to be honest. But it's also a little bit more risky, so that's why we're only going to be taking solid trades. No, not 4 minis. 4 minis is too much. Again, you got to really wait. I got to figure out what's our max drawdown though for the 150. What's the drawdown for the 150? 4,500. We'll probably be trading like 3 minis. I would say 3 minis of, yeah, of ES. Biggest day can only be 30% of total profits made. Only be 30% of total profits made? Wait, what do you mean? Your biggest day can only be 30% of total profits. But what if it's my first day and I have no profits? Are you sure? Oh, 30% of your profit target. Okay, so it's like Fun and Futures Network. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, FFN is 15, so we got a lot more room. All right, so going into tomorrow, we'll talk more about the evaluation challenge later. I'll make the announcement after this to get everybody ready. So going to tomorrow, let's take a look at NQ first. I am going to be, right now, I think the draw is higher. And the reason is because, again, order flow is still bullish. If we get big move down and then instantly get bought back up, I'm expecting probably a continuation of the upside. Now, I am going to be looking for displacement, though, right? If we come down, again, we've swept this overall bigger time frame structure. I would need to see us possibly come up, maybe sweep internal here after this buy side level, and then maybe see downwards, and then this would become that sell side level. But going into tomorrow, again, depends on what happens in the overnight session. But if we wake up tomorrow and let's say, we wake up like somewhere here, then I would be a little bit more bearish going into the day, at least until probably this low is swept, or we get displacement and expect to see lower. But again, a lot of my bias is going to depend on what happens in the overnight session. But now that we've swept that bigger external level, I'm going to be a little bit more cautious and possibly want to see a little bit more downside. Next would be sick because I got a notification beginning of August and I go back to college on 15th. I know you guys want to do it next week. Justin, why do you use EdgeClear? Are you on FFN? I have a live account with EdgeClear. I have a live account with TradeOvate, and then I have a live account with EdgeClear. They're two different accounts. The EdgeClear account is my biggest account, and then the TradeOvate account is kind of my troll account, the one that I've just been growing like for fun. And I have it's very aggressive. The TradeOvate account is very aggressive. Yeah, that's the account it was started at 3K. That's the account that I lost the 15K on. Because the max it was I think 34. It was at 34K, and then last week I ended up bringing it back down again because I've been trading it aggressively, right? That 15K, that was 30K. That's a big chunk of that account, right? But it's because that account specifically I'm trading more aggressively. But again, I've made most of that back in the last 2 days on the Edge Pro account. Do you use DOM on EdgeClear? Yeah, I only use the DOM to trade. I don't really use the platform. I just use the DOM. Where is it at? The TradeOvate account is at like 20 something. Because I didn't make it back on the Trade of 8. I traded on the Edge Pro. So I gotta get the Trade of 8 account back because I got a little chunk of it back down. So I think it's at 20K, or like 21K or something, and the max it was at was like 30, 34, 35. So I gotta get it back to where it was and then continue to grow it. But right now I've been trading on the Edge Pro account just because I just kind of like to switch it up. It kind of depends how I'm feeling, to be honest. Can you give me a few videos to study to get more used to the model, every aspect? I would say, yeah, ICT 2020 mentorship and just binge my videos. Binge the charting sessions. I low-key think if people watched all of the charting sessions and just took notes and like tried to figure out what we were doing, I feel like they would just be a beast. If we lose a lot, we have 2 to 3 good days wins. That's why I focus on good. Exactly. Yeah. The fact that we could have a losing week and then come back this week and have 2 winning days and make back most of those losses. Still down on technically on this month, but we'll see how long that lasts. We are capable of what Justin is doing. All got to study hard and take notes to be better every day. Yes, sir. Exactly. Shows how important RR is and risk management, right? That's why you see me, guys. I'm very particular with my entries and especially my stops, because there's a lot of times where I might, I'm a very kind of tight stop person. I like having tight stops because I can always get back in, right? And I like to have small losses. Now, there's some times where I'll have looser stops, but I'll have to adjust my position size accordingly, right? What are your thoughts on the whole TJR and Tyler thing? I could give less of a fuck, to be honest. Throw a jab at them? Dude, I'm more mature than every one of these other fucking traders, bro. I'm here to teach you guys how to trade, and I'm here to trade myself. I'm not here to fucking have stupid, pointless drama, bro, just for fucking followers. I'm here to focus on what's important. Make an announcement in the Discord for people to vote about the funded account. Start date for sure. I got you. Much love, Jason. 100% Jet. Daily entertainment. It literally is high school type shit, to be honest. All right. Let's take a look at ES. Again, ES swept this external level. What could we possibly expect? I'm going to be bullish until that 1 hour low gets taken, right? Because if we're looking at the 1 hour, right, we just swept this big level. That means what would be market structure shift? This would be market structure shift. So I'm not going to be bearish on a bigger time frame until we come down and we break this level with big displacement. So I think buy side was going to be resting here. So I would want this to become market structure shift on a bigger time frame. Again, zooming out, I would expect this. I would expect that to become a breaker, possibly come up. Then, again, it's not going to be as clean as that, but I would want this to become a breaker. But if that doesn't happen, we could do this as well. Oh. Bing. And then bong. Bing. Bong. All right. Sweep this level, and then we get displacement back up. Long targeting highs. Again. Displacement is so important. Displacement is going to tell you where the market wants to go to. Any questions? Sometimes I struggle executing on MT4 quickly to be in sync with you unless I coincidentally have the same entry and my lot size calculated beforehand. So always always know what your lot size is going to be, right? So again, I know what I know what your full size, know what your small size, and know what your, mid size, right? Half size, right? So my max size, 6 NQ minis, all right? My half size, 3, all right? If I want to trade less than that, I'll probably trade micros, right? So I can scale out a little bit more instead of just doing, 2, right? I'd, probably do like 20. ES, 12, right? If I want to trade half, I'll do 6, right? And I know depending on what the trade is, right? And also, it doesn't even necessarily depend on what the trade is. It depends on how I'm feeling as well, right? Like, let's say I'm feeling, just kind of wake up and I'm just groggy. I'm not feeling too good. All right, maybe I'll trade half size, right? Maybe I know I'm not thinking straight, right? Even if it's a good setup, maybe I'll trade half size. Or I'll go into the day, feeling confident in my trade. I'm like, oh, this is nice. I'm going to take full size here, because I'm fine with that, right? Or it might be days where it's like really, really bad action. We just had CPI and I'm going to trade, really low size. And those are the days where, you test your patience, you back test your strategy, and you're just focused on gaining experience, right? You don't need to be making money. You don't need to be taking trades every single day. That's why there's days I'll come in and I'll literally trade like 1/10 of my size just because I like to back test my edge, right? I'm not here to make money today because I know the action's not good, so I'm probably not going to make money and I don't want to risk it because if I do risk it, I'm going to lose money. So I'm going to trade very, very light size, test my strategy, see if something looks good, I'll take it, but very low size. And I'll, let the market do my thing, and then I'll go journal it and see what's right and what's wrong, right? And I'm just constantly building experience. I don't have to be making money every single day. And what's valuable is actually executing. I don't care if you're executing with a penny. The fact that you're just clicking a button and executing off of an idea is going to help you so much in the long run, right? You're building actual real experience, trading your strategy. No, you don't have to calculate it seconds before my entry. My lot size depends on the stop size. Estimate it, brother. You should not be calculating every single trade because, again, you're not going to have time, bro. It's if the setup looks good, you're entering, right? So you have to have room. Say, hey, get used to the price action. Get used to, again, for me, I've had enough experience where I can recognize it. Where I can say, okay, like for this specific trade on NQ, right? Let's say, all right, or on ES, for example. I'm like, okay, my stop on ES is what? How many points here? Wow, 2 points. Okay, wow. If I trade my full size here, if I trade 12 minis, that means, my loss is probably going to be, around $1,000, right? Maybe, 1,000 to, 1,300, right? So, okay, I know my loss. I know my loss there, right? Okay, so if I'm going to trade half size, okay, I know it's probably going to be half of that, right? So you get used to knowing what your size is going to be, right? And it just takes time and experience to recognize, where it is. Now, looking on that NQ trade, I moved my stop a little bit looser, right? Because I knew that we could possibly come back up a little bit more. So enter in long, but, I moved my stop, around here, not at the high, right? I give myself a little bit more room. So, okay, I'm like, all right, I'm going to have to, have, a 12-point stop on this. If I enter in my full size 6, that's going to be a pretty decent loss, right? That's probably going to be, probably like $2,000, maybe a little bit more, right? So I enter a little bit lower size, and then once I get confirmation to the downside, then I add to my position. And then I move my stop. So for example, if I enter here, and my initial stop is here, because I know that potentially we can come back up into this fair value gap, and this trade is still going to be valid, right? Because again, we could do this technically. We could come up, right? You maybe go here, and then look to go lower, right? That does not invalidate the trade. So what happens is once I see this rejection and I see big displacement, I'm like, okay, now that we've rejected off this, we're really starting to displace. I'm going to move my stop to, let's say, this high because now I'm in profit and I've taken off a contract, right? So let's say we get displacement down. We come down here. I take off a contract. So then I move my stop, whatever it is, and it gives me room. Let's say I end up moving my stop to here and it ends up coming back up. Okay, so what? That loss is very, very small. Let's say this, right? Let's say this was the case. Let's say I enter in short and I decide to put my stop right here at this high, right? But that if I get stopped, that's not invalidating the trade, right? Okay, let's say this happens. Boom. Get stopped out. Okay, what's the risk on this? 4. Okay? -1. Okay, we end up coming up. All right, we end up sweeping that high. All right, another rejection. Oh, there we go. Another fair value gap. Oh, wow. Okay, I enter short. All right, now let's say I put my stop again at the high. Okay? Wow, what's the risk here? 4.7. Okay. Okay. Let's say we come up again and sweep that high. I get stopped out again. Wow, oh my god, I can't win, bro. Oh my god, oh my god. Minus. Another -1. Then, let's say it happens again. Again, trade's still valid. You're still rejecting this 5-minute fair value gap. This high gets swept, right? We come up, right? Boom, boom, boom. Sweep again. And then you get another displacement. Boom. And then you enter again. You're like, okay, we're continuing to reject again. Trade still looks good. You enter in short. You put your stop again at the high or the recent high, whatever it is. And then it ends up working out for you. Boom. First PT here. Your first PT is a 7 risk reward, 4, whatever it is, right? -1, +5. So you can always get back into a trade, right? You can always get back into a trade. That's the way I like to think about it. If you have good risk management, you are allowed to do this. If you have a confident setup, you have a confident edge, you have a confident draw on liquidity, you can position yourself to be able to take multiple stops, multiple tight areas without losing a bunch of money. And then when it ends up going in your favor and the setup actually proves itself, you're going to be rewarded for that. That's why good risk management, that's why I have such small losses. And when I take wins, they're a lot bigger than my losses. Because I follow good risk and I let my winners go. Make sense? I agree, Jason. Much love, brother. Is your stop loss size and points always very similar? Yes and no. It's around the same area, but for some people it might, that might be a big, like I would say my stop on NQ is most of the time no more, I would not say any more than 20. I think 20 is probably max. I would say my stops are. I would say general, my stops are around, I would say 10 to 15. 10 to 15 points on NQ. I still have a problem with FOMO and greed and finding it difficult at times to beat those. How did you overcome these psychological factors? Today is a perfect example. I'm going to share with you guys. This is the mindset that made me profitable. I don't give a fuck what the market does if I'm not in a position. I do not care. I don't even care if I get filled. I don't care if my entry doesn't get hit because I'm not going to take the market personally. The reason you guys are so emotional is because you take every single move like the market's your fucking mother. Like you take this shit so personally, like it's out to get you. Like it's doing this just to fuck you over. And you end up getting so emotional over it because of it. I don't care what the market does today. I don't care what it does tomorrow. I don't care what it does next week. The only thing that I care about is, am I following good risk? Am I taking good setups? And am I doing everything I need to be supposed to be doing? If the market does not provide quality, I don't care what it does. I do not care if we run 1,000 fucking points tomorrow. If there is no setup, I don't care. It's simple as that. I don't fucking care. Because if the market does not provide quality to me and my edge, why would I care what the market does if there was no setup for my specific edge? The way that you're thinking is building terrible fucking habits because you're focused on making money. And if you see a big move in the market, you're automatically thinking, oh, dude, I could have made fucking $5,000 right there, bro. Instead of thinking, hey, there was no even entry for me here. Why am I fucking tweaking about this entire, a move when there wasn't even a fucking entry for my strategy? Like, there was no reason for me to be trading this, so why the fuck are you tweaking? Stop caring what the market does if it has no correlation with your edge and no correlation with what you're looking to trade. You don't need to trade every day. You don't need to be making money every day. You have to be patient, and you have to learn to not give a fuck what the market does. How do you change the price of your stop loss and take profit on edge clear using the DOM? Because it only lets me change my entry point. You move it just like trade ovate. You can move it on the DOM. You just drag your order up and down. I got you. Yeah, bro. It's always funny. You guys always make fun of me because I yell. But I get into this show. I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you because I've been through this shit. I've made the same mistakes. So I yell at you like I'm yelling at me. That's literally what it is. I'm literally yelling at you because it's me yelling at myself. But I'm telling you, that's the key. Just stop caring about what the market does when it has no correlation with what you're doing, because you end up building bad habits. If there's no edge, there's no entry for your strategy, then you really shouldn't care. Even if other people made money. That's how you know that your mindset is fucking solid. Think about that for a second. That's how you know that you are in a God mindset. When you look around and see all of your neighbors, everybody on Twitter making money today, and you ended up not taking a trade, and you look at the market and you're like, you know what? There was really no setup for me. Like, I know what makes me money, and that, what makes me money was not presented today. So there was really no reason for me to take a trade. I'm happy that everybody else made money, but me personally, I know that my edge makes me money, and I'm not going to take the chance to trade anything other than my strategy. ICT 3 hours in his video, and then I'm like, guys, the world's gonna fucking end. Guys, I've really struggled. I've really struggled as a young boy. As a young boy, I just wanted to beat up everybody. That's ICT Twitter lives, ICT Twitter Spaces. That's what happened today. You all guys took 2 trades and won, but I was busy and still happy for you. Tomorrow's a new day. Yes, sir. All right, guys. Any last questions for tonight's session? All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your night. I will see you all tomorrow morning. Get some rest. Much love. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.